Coming up on today's episode of PSN, former para-ice hockey team captain for Canada, Greg Westlake, chats about transitioning from being a player to a coach, and how important is it to have coaches who have played the para-sports themselves. All that and more to come on Parasport Nation.
Welcome to Parasport Nation with Alex Smythe and Nathan Clement.
Hello and welcome in. I'm Alex Smythe. As always, I am joined by my co-host Nathan Clement. Nathan, how are you doing? It's been a busy week or so for you traveling across the country.
Yeah, it's been just an absolutely incredible week and last 72 hours. I was just recently in Ottawa for the Canadian Team Canada celebration event for all the Olympians and all the Paralympians who represented Canada at the Paris 2024 Games. Started off with the Canadian Sport Awards, where we had the incredible Scott Russell get recognized and Ellie Black and so many other Olympians and Paralympians get onto the stage. And I was very fortunate enough to receive an award as the Game Plan champion, and for an organization like Game Plan, which really works on helping give athletes the opportunities while they're an athlete, but also once they retire from sport to work and to just network and gain that experience so they have a second career and that second opportunity to be as successful as an athlete. And just like that weekend was special, I got to meet Her Excellency Mary Simon, as well as His Excellency Whit Fraser and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and as well receive my Paralympic ring, which for every athlete, a tradition in sport is whether you're on the Olympic side or the Paralympic side, every athlete receives an Olympic and Paralympic ring. So I finally have received mine, and it's such a beautiful, beautiful piece of jewelry, and it's a piece of us that we get to hold on to forever. But just those kinds of events where you get to meet a lot of Olympians you never knew before, but also meet so many Paralympians and get to know them on that deeper personal level is so special and just so invigorating, and shows that sport, we're not so separate, we're not so different on both streams of sport. We're really a full giant family at the end of the day.
Yeah, first off, congratulations on the award. Congratulations on finally getting the ring. Can you describe the ring a bit for me? Because I've never seen a Paralympic ring before.
So it's made by a company called Tech, and each ring has the Paralympic logo centered in it, with the Canadian Paralympic logo centered in it. And within there is the games that you represented. So I am very lucky. I have a Rio 2016 one that has Rio sketched in there, and this one has Paris 2024. So they're silver plated and silver made. And on the Olympic side, you have the Team Canada Olympic logo there. The Paralympic one, as I said, has the Paralympic logo, and it's just a nice, beautiful little piece. And for a lot of athletes, if you've gone to 2, 3, 4, 5 games, or even someone like Patrick Anderson who's been to 6 games, you're gonna be running out of room to put the ring on your hand. So it's really, really special just to have these little pieces of jewelry just as a part of you now forever. It's that brotherhood, it's that sisterhood that we're all a part of, and it's just a celebration of sport and a reminder of what's possible when you follow your dreams and you follow your goals.
And someone who would have a number of rings is our guest for today, Greg Westlake. He's had a tremendous career as part of Canada's men's national para-ice hockey team as a player. He racked up the medals and the goals and the points for Team Canada, but since retiring a few years ago, he has now transitioned into coaching. In his first year as assistant coach, Canada broke their 7-year World Championship title drought. Greg joins now to chat more about transitioning from being an athlete to a coach. Greg, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Always a pleasure catching up with you. So, you are now an assistant coach with the para ice hockey men's national team. Last year, you started being an assistant coach for the team, and your team won gold for the first time in 7 years. How was that experience?
That was amazing. First off, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, it was an incredible experience. I can't take a ton of the credit because I came in halfway through the year and so much work had already been done for the the 2 years prior, or a year and a half anyways, when I wasn't there. But Coach Russ Harrington had the team ready to go, and the leadership group and the team buy-in was fantastic. And for me, you mentioned, the first time in so long that we won gold. And so for me, it was just so sweet to be a part of that, because I was in the group of players that was chasing that gold medal for so long. And, when you dream about retiring, you don't dream about losing a gold medal game by a bunch of goals and then riding off into the sunset. So, especially with it being the COVID games in China there, and that being the last time I got to wear the jersey, it was not a sad day, but, an emotional day anyways, because I loved playing so much. And, for me, it felt like the job wasn't done. There was still a lot to do, and it still feels that way today, and I think it always will. That's the nature of high-performance sport, right? And so to come back and at least see the guys that I went to battle with get it done and kind of get over that hump and have that gold medal celebration with their families and have that moment and hear "Oh Canada" on the blue line, it was an honor for me just to be a small part of that, and really was a bit of a full circle moment for me. I was so sad about exiting playing, and that's the next best thing. That's the closest I can get to the ice now is coaching. So I just really appreciated it.
How was that transition from being a player to becoming a coach now?
It's been fun. It's a great question. It's, for me, I always try to take the good out of the relationships and the people you meet along the way, and you leave out the bad. And so for me, I'm trying not to coach like I was the perfect athlete, because I wasn't. I coached the things I think I was good at, and the things that I think I had a good handle on, and then sometimes you coach the things that you wish you did a little bit better, and that you wish you could have mastered when you were a bit younger. So, there's no ego. It's just how can we all get better together? How can we become a tighter knit team? How can we improve in every little detail so that we leave no stone unturned when it comes time to perform? So it's been a lot of fun. I'm learning every day, and I think one thing that's made it really enjoyable is, as you would know, as a high performance athlete yourself, we're just trying to get better every day. And toward the end of my playing career, it was managing injuries and managing, the mental and taking care of my family at home. And then coaching, I'm a rookie all over again. There's so much to learn. And so in a way that was exciting for me. And not that I mastered playing, because you never do, but it was a whole new challenge. And now going to the rink, I don't feel like I know everything. I don't think I have all the answers. And so it's kind of fun for me just to fall back into that role. I feel like I'm 20 years old again. I'm asking tons of questions. I'm picking the brains of the great staff that we have in place and the guest coaches we bring in. And so I feel like every camp and every tournament, I leave just a little bit better than I came in. And that's a really exciting thing. That's something that motivates me in life to accomplish great things, is just to get better every day. And so right now, that's the current task, is how can I be a better coach every day? And yeah, it's really exciting.
What has surprised you most about that transition point, or maybe something you didn't quite anticipating being a challenge, or being something you really enjoyed about the coaching experience?
It's long days. It's a lot of hours. Coaching's tough. You start in the morning and you're the first up and the last to bed, basically. And, when you're a player, you leave it out there in the training room or on the ice, and then your rest and your recovery are the most important things. Rest and recovery doesn't exist as a staff. You do the practice, you work with the guys, and then maybe you're running meetings on the side. Then you got to watch the video, and then you start prepping your next presentation, and then you lay in bed all night and you don't sleep very much, and you're thinking about what can I do? What can I do to help these guys? It's a constant. It's always going. And so for me, I always knew that coaches worked hard and that they put in the hours and how much they cared. I've been fortunate enough to have great coaches throughout my career. But now actually being in it, my wife always jokes with me. She talks to me less now than she did as a player, because, as a player, I would, leave it all out there, and then I'd go back and I'd rest, I'd recover, I'd have naps, I'd FaceTime home, and now I'm just working all the time. So I think just how hard the coaches work and how much they prepare so that we can teach the players just what goes into high performance and how to reach, their goals was a bit of a surprise for me.
You're currently in Charlottetown, PEI. How is the preparation going into the 2024 Para Hockey Cup?
So far, so good. We've had 3 great practices. It's always tough with travel days involved, and especially when you're coming to, some places in the country, you got to make sure you get all your gear, all your equipment and everything. So, knock on wood, but we've been pretty good. All of our stuff showed up on time. So It's been fun. Because we're not a centralized full-time team, the guys are so excited to see each other. And so every camp, every tournament, the first couple of days, there's an energy and there's a buzz around the room of people that are just, your best friend might live in a different province. You might be so excited to see somebody that you haven't seen in a month. And so far the vibes are high, and we haven't had to deal with a ton of adversity yet, but I'm sure that will come as the games start going, and that's when the real test will start. But so far so good. Everyone's just, happy to be back in this environment, happy to be with each other, and hopefully we can carry that good momentum into some good performances.
And how important is this competition as a kind of a momentum builder, a tune-up for the World Championships that are just a few months away for you and the team?
Yeah, it's tremendously important, and we have the top 4 ranked teams here right now, and so this is a tremendous opportunity because, of course, geographically, we don't get to play China every day. We don't get to play USA every day. We don't get to play Czechia every day. And so to bring everybody into one central location and have a competition, we realize how lucky we are. We wish we played 82 games a season. We don't. And so we have to make the most out of every game because we don't get to play a ton of them. But we're excited about the level of competition here right now and really looking forward to testing ourselves. And just leave it all out there. And, of course, this tournament for us is our tournament. It's in Canada. We get the gold medal game on TSN on this tournament. It'll be covered by AMI, and it'll be on the YouTube streams. And but this is our tournament. We get to play in front of our fans. We love this tournament. This tournament's been crucial in recruitment, in growing the grassroots across Canada for our game. And so this tournament has a lot of moving parts to it, from the growth of the grassroots system. Tomorrow we have a local team coming on the ice with us at the end of our practice for a try-it ice session, and they'll get to get on the ice with some of their hockey heroes and have some fun. And so just everything from being ingrained in the community, which we don't get to do when we're in other countries as much, to trying to win gold medals, to showing off our great game. We're still fighting for, respect and fans and all those things as Paralympians. We're trying to show people our great sport of para ice hockey. And so this tournament's another great chance to do that and to tidy up things and get better. So, I could list 100 reasons why this is a great, meaningful, and impactful tournament, and we're pretty excited to be here.
How would you describe your team and your core group of guys? Like, who should we be looking out for, and what should we expect when they go into the Para Hockey Cup this week?
Oh, you can't make me name names here, Nate. Come on.
Yeah.
Our team is a very tight-knit group. I've really noticed, even just in the last year and a bit since I've been here, they really enjoy being together. And that's, if you don't have an obstacle there, that's a great first step to take. So it's a group that really cares about each other. It's a group that's starting to really learn what their identity is on the ice, the game plan that we're asking them to play. And then, of course, we do have some high-end players, the Tyler McGregors, the Liam Hickeys, the Dom Cozzolinos. There's just so many great guys. Our first star of the gold medal game last year, our goalie Adam Kingsmill, and then we have 2 other great goalies that are here pushing for ice time. We think that we have great defense. We think that all of our defensemen do a really great job for us and are capable of eating a lot of minutes and kind of shutting down the front of the net and transitioning the puck up the ice. So I think when we play our style of play, we're not looking for one guy to go out there and be a superstar. We're looking for, wave after wave. We're looking for 3 good lines. We're looking for all of our D to, play smart, intelligent games, and of course have our goalie be there to support us. So we have some high-end talent, but more importantly, we have a synergistic, tight team. So hopefully that prevails.
And for you, Greg, obviously you've had a great playing career. You're now in coaching. You've had early success being a part of this team and hopefully continue to build on it. But how important is it to have, for the team to have coaching and coaches who have experience not only playing hockey, but playing para ice hockey? Like, that is something that, you wouldn't have had a lot of experience when you were playing because it was a growing sport, and you may have coaches coming from the hockey world, but not having that specific experience and knowledge and intimacy in playing this style of the game. How critical is that to really connect further with the players and take coaching to the next level?
Yeah, I think it does help connect with the players because they know I've been through those battles. And, I know what it's like to not have my sled fit perfectly. And I know what it's like to have to learn to use my left hand and figure that out. And so there is some little intricate skill details that I feel like I can help with, which is awesome. And I'm not the first and the only guy to do it who's an ex-player. Our video coach right now is a former player, Steve Arsenault, and he was a good defenseman for us for a long time. And he's helped me tremendously with my transition into coaching because he's a former player and he's doing a heck of a job for us right now as well. So I credit him with really helping me kind of get my feet under me. And but yeah, you're right. I was never coached by somebody in a sled. And so for me, I take a lot of pride in being in my sled out there with my whistle and my marker. And, I'm out there just trying my best. But, sometimes it can be frustrating coaching from a sled, but I like it. It makes me different. It's what separates me from other coaches. So I'm going to continue to lean into that. And I hope it's a strength that's working for me, and I hope the guys appreciate it because I love being out there skating around and getting some exercise still. So I'm going to keep leaning into it. I love working with the young guys on, little things like their sled setup and some skills maybe that I can accelerate their development. So it's been a blast, and hopefully now we kind of see other countries maybe grab some guys and use them because it matters so much. It's not just the coaching part. There's also just the emotional and mental component for me of I love this game of hockey. From the time I was 3, all I've ever wanted to do was be involved in hockey. And when that retirement's looming, you feel it. And I remember my last season, I wish somebody would have pulled me aside and said, hey, we got a spot for you on the coaching staff. We appreciate you. I would have felt way better my last season playing. So I wish I had that crystal ball that would have told me what was going to happen and how it was going to play out. But I've just really been appreciative of the staff and the management that reached out and brought me back. It feeds my soul. I love being here. I love working with the guys. So it's nice to know that as a para-athlete, that when your playing career is over, there's a spot for you, whether it's management, coaching, whatever your area of expertise is, it doesn't have to end the day that your playing career is over. And I think that's a great message to send.
The sport is really expanding, and just recently the Sea Pool World Championships happened in the fall of 2024, and that's from athletes and leaders like yourself who's really been a backbone and real great advocate for the sport. But would you have anyone that's on your Mount Rushmore of para ice hockey?
Gosh, well, I got to give, there's a Norwegian guy, Rolf Einar Pedersen, and him and I had a lot of battles, but he was a fantastic player, used both hands, he was a great athlete. And he really drove the sport forward just with the skill level he had. So Rolf Einar Pedersen's got to be on there. I think you got to put Steve Cash, the American goalie, on there. He just won so much, and he was a great ambassador for the game. Probably give Todd Nicholson a spot. Got to give some love to a Canadian guy. I'm trying to go all retired guys here. He gets a spot because I think he really pushed the development of the sport, and he was really integral in the grassroots in Canada, helping to build it up, which is fantastic. And then I'll give a tie for the fourth spot here with we'll give one to Brad and Billy Bridges, Brad Bowden and Billy Bridges, because I played with both of them, and they'll text me tomorrow and be all up in my grill that if I don't name them. So they put up a lot of points, and they were fantastic pioneers for our country. So I really appreciated playing with them, and they helped me out a ton.
Well, and Greg, a lot of people I'm sure would put you on that Mount Rushmore as well because of what you've done, not only in the sport in Canada, but also, the stats speak for themselves as well. One question we also like to throw out to athletes, if you could change one rule in your sport, what would you change?
Great question. Off the top of my head, I was a net front guy, and I love battling and trying to tip pucks in. And right now, I feel like every time we tip a puck in the net, it's called a high stick. And I think we got to look at how we can. I just want to create more offense. We can score more, and so I think we could look at how we can get some more deflection goals there without calling it a high stick. That would be just a quick, simple one for me.
Greg, this has been phenomenal. Thank you so much for taking the time. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you. Best of luck this weekend with the tournament.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Keep doing the great job you do.
Okay, there's a ton to pick up from that interview with Greg. The one thing I really want to start with, Nathan, is the fact that, going from being an athlete, a member of that national program for years, to now being a member of the coaching staff, it's got to be so valuable to have a coach. If you're an athlete, knowing that your coach has been in your position, has been a player, a member of the national team, knows what that experience is like, not just from, okay, if they played hockey for, a Team Canada, but being part of the Paralympic movement, that's got to be huge for an athlete.
It's the biggest thing ever, especially someone as decorated and as storied as Greg Westlake, who's definitely on my Mount Rushmore of para ice hockey players. And I know probably for you as well, Alex. And just to have a leader, to have someone who commands that respect from what he's done on the ice and how he's played and how he's always presented himself as an athlete is major for these young up-and-coming athletes. And as they just won a world championships, expectations are high. They want to go for that gold medal in Milan. And just to have someone like that behind the bench who understands each position, understands what it's like to be a para ice hockey player in all the different classes and all the different categories, because he's gotten to know different players, gotten to know different guys throughout his years in the sport, is huge. Just for the confidence, just for the steadying of the ship, because he's seen everything. He's seen everything go down from success to the lows, and just that is so vital. But also to have someone like Greg, who does a lot of work in media and has done play-by-play and also worked with AMI and done stuff with AMI, especially like sharing other para-athletes and para-athlete stories, and even his own, is vital for just that grassroots aspect, and that community aspect is so key. And I'd love for you to say like how important that grassroots is to just like building that confidence, building that strength for all athletes that come right now, but in the future as well.
Oh, absolutely. Like I remember when I first joined AMI, within my first few months, I did one of these Paralympic summits, and he was there. It was his last cycle, I believe, or second last cycle, where he was there. He was one of the senior athletes that I had a chance to chat with, and even from that first interaction, he is phenomenal. Like he's just so genuine, so kind, so willing to share from his experiences and provide insight and help educate and inform the public and the media. But also, too, I've gotten a chance to know him through things like Level Playing Field, Beyond the Field, different AMI projects that we have worked on together. And yeah, you see when there is that spark from him where he gets to go out. He mentioned, they're having the Try It skate event while in PEI. But yeah, it's those events that, the kids who maybe new to their disability, their experience, or trying to find a way to engage with the sport that is accessible to them, that they can go and look at and see someone like Greg Westlake, who's had the highest of successes in that sport, there to help them on their beginning of their journey. It is something that's truly special that I don't think you can get from able-bodied sports. Even if you have, a world-class athlete working with the children or kind of first-timers in the sport, it is that shared experience through disability that adds something special that is hard to replicate. One other thing too, Nathan, I wanted to quickly get your thoughts on this, is the idea of having a coach with the shared experience, and obviously for yourself in your sports. Para ice hockey, that is a team sport, that is a strategy, that is a game that's being played, whereas when it comes to swimming and cycling, those are races. So it's a completely different mentality. The strategy is going to be different. But is there insight that can be gained from having a coach with a shared experience in the sports that you've competed in?
Oh, it's everything. To have someone who has that similar experience to you, knows exactly what it's like to be in these pelotons, to be in, at least in cycling's case, to be in these groupings as races break apart, as races sometimes go from completely calm to chaos within seconds. It's good to have someone there who has that experience and has that history in sport and understands what it's like to be a trike rider or a hand cyclist, or even in the swimming case, to have someone who specialized in butterfly or specialized in a certain class and category. is vital. It's like if you look at like the National Football League or like the Canadian Football League, when you have coaches who've worked in different position groups or were a player themselves, you have that background, you have that experience. They understand what it is like to be in the sport every single day, what it's like to reach those highs, reach those lows. And in hockey, especially hockey, it's a team sport. It's a sport where everyone's counting on everyone because you're constantly in transition, you're constantly in shift. And to have someone there who fully understands and fully knows what to expect, it's that calming, it's that settling for so many athletes, especially like when you reach those pressure points and when you reach those key moments. And I know for me, like having that experience of having coaches who were former Paralympic athletes, whether it's in swimming or any other sport, it can bring that calm, especially like when you need it in the storm.
Absolutely. Well, Nathan, it's time now for the PSN update.
Now, the PSN update.
Canada's Alpine Stars opened this season at the Canadian Para-Alpine National Championships on the slopes of the Panorama Resort in BC. Callie Erickson and his guide, Sierra Smith, and other national team athletes, Kurt Outway, Michaela Goslin, and Alexis Gumond, took victory in their respective races and classifications, while many of Canada's current team members and hopefuls earned their first podiums of the penultimate season before Milan 2026. Next up is the first World Cup for the Canucks. From the skiing to the court, the 4th edition of the World Wheelchair Rugby Women's Cup 2024 bounces off this weekend, with all the matches available on YouTube at Wheelchair Rugby France. And finally, on the ice, the 2024 Para Hockey Cup gets underway this Sunday from Charlottetown, PEI. The tournament features the top 4 teams in the world. Canada opens Sunday against Czechia and then faces China on December 9th. And its arch rival, the United States, the reigning Paralympic champions, on December 11th. TSN and RDS will broadcast the medal game on Saturday, December 14th. All other games are available on pay-per-view basis at hnllive.ca. And that's the PSN update.
As we had talked with Brianna Hennessy a little while ago about the upcoming Wheelchair Rugby Women's Cup, I'm so excited to see how that competition is going to come together, because it's so fascinating where you get these sports that really push towards having more gender equality in the sports themselves. You have competitions like this. Wheelchair rugby is an open sport. Women and men can compete together, but still, you haven't seen that breakthrough. You haven't seen the elevation of female athletes making the national teams and playing on a consistent basis. I'm so excited to check that one out.
Oh, I cannot wait for this. This is really amazing, really exciting. You have teams like Great Britain who are bringing full rosters, but you also have like Total Energies. And what's great about this one too is there's going to be a lot of combined teams as well from people from different nations. So it's really bringing the best of the best, and having it streamed, having it broadcast is only going to bring more eyes to the sport and more opportunities for it really grow, and eventually have that conversation, have that opportunity where you can have a women's rugby in a Paralympics. It's taking that step, it's making that direction every single day, every single opportunity where you have a tournament like this, and it's really growing the grassroots, especially when you have an incredible leader, incredible advocate for sport and women's sport like Brianna Hennessy, who actually was at the Team Canada celebration and then took a flight to get over so she's able to represent and be at that tournament from Ottawa to Paris. So it just takes leaders who are throwing themselves into situations like that. It's really going to bring the sport forward and eventually get sports and a gender like women's rugby in the Paralympics.
Yeah, well, there's a ton of athletes, you included, racking up the air miles now. But unfortunately, we are out of runway on this show. It's PSN. We'll catch you next time. Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Parasport Nation. Like and subscribe to the channel to follow us now.